Alright, so this is going to be a little bit of a GW rant. Just be forewarned. If you're here for like speed painting hacks, I promise we'll get there. I'll put a timestamp somewhere for when I actually start painting. But so story time. So in addition to being a YouTuber, making YouTube videos, I watch a fair amount of YouTube, like I watch painting videos, I watch, like all kinds of stuff on YouTube. I kind of watch a lot of YouTube actually. So I was everywhere I look, I've seen these videos for the stupid contrast paints, right? So I go into my local GW store here in Denver. Like, we have a GW store, and apparently it's pretty successful. Like, they use it as a model for like what smaller GW stores are supposed to be like a little hole in the wall, like in a strip mall. And I talked to my GW store manager, and he's like, I've been seeing all these videos for the contrast paints. I want to get my hands on some contrast paints. And he's like, they're not out yet. And I'm like, you can come in and you can demo them on Saturday. We're getting a bunch of them in, and we're getting, we're going to paint the store's models, and you can demo all the colors. We're getting every single color. We're getting a bunch of them. We're getting like 60 pots of paint so everybody can demo them. So I come back on Saturday, right? And I'm playing with the paints, and he's like, "Oh, what'd you think? Do you want some?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I should probably get like one of the black, and the red and like the brown. Like I'd probably use those a lot, And he's like, "Oh, those ones are all sold out." Because like in my mind, I was gonna show up, and then I could buy like a box set from the beginning. This is like originally I was like, this could, like these seem like they could be kind of a game changer if you were trying to table like a bunch of minis, like if you, for whatever, like let's say that you wanted to play a big skirmish game, or like an army game where you have a lot of stuff that you have to table quickly, like get up to tabletop standard paint. And then, I go in, and like I'm just getting more and more cynical. It's like I'm like, I've heard all this before. Like you pulled this shit on me before, GW, and so yeah, I mean, of course they're like sold out. And he's like, we had a deal going on where you can mix and match, and then you could get like 6 paints. Like you could pre-order them and get them next week, and it was like $50 and $60 for like 6 paints. And I'm like, and of course, like, you already know this. Like, I have a problem. Like if I can't go to like a hobby store or wherever and like not walk out with some paint or some minis or something. So I mean, of course, I got the little, like the new Age of Sigmar Armory in a box. This is where it's going to get really cynical. So let's go to GW's website, right? This is GW's homepage, and it's like every few years, every couple years or whatever, they do like an update to the sci-fi, they do an update to the fantasy stuff, and like, okay, so I went ahead and I got the like small game in a box, or whatever, and like I'm pretty sure that they train them on how to like sell this stuff, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, we take a hit on those. Like you get all these minis, you get the rule book, you get a ruler, like you get dice, and it's like it works out to like $1 a model or something like that, But what I mean, so yeah, like these new models are kind of like a quantum leap for GW. I think that the quality of the sculpts, like they're just like gorgeous. Like you see, and you can tell that they've been like 3D printed, you know, and like done in like a CAD program, and then like blown apart. Like when you see the how they key together, you can tell that they were like 3D printed. And that's great. Like, but so like the new thing right now though is paints. Like paints are getting an update, so they're getting rid of like washes. They're getting rid of the ink washes. And then like, okay, so I went in. All right, okay, so I exaggerated. 10 paints for $60. 10 paints for $60. Like these little guys. That's kind of nuts. So let's see. All right, so this box set, this is $40. Let's see what else we can get for $40. This we got the Middle Earth stuff, right? You can get the Fellowship of the Ring, or let's see, like you could get 3 models, you know, like for like $5 a piece, or like $10 for one stupid horseman. Like there's just no rhyme or reason to GW's price model, like how it works. Like let's go to 40K. I bet we could find a like a hero. Yeah, here we go. Like one model, $25. One model, $35. So I can get this one Primaris Chaplain Space Marine for like $35, or I can get the box set of Stormstrike. You know, it's like that's, I don't know. This is the stuff. This makes me very, very cynical. It's like the GW. You know, they have a price model where it's like they try to get people into the hobby. It's like a meat grinder, and then the core gamers get ripped off like really hard because they don't buy new armies all the time. They don't buy a ton of new models. They buy like one tank, or they buy like one new like chaplain or whatever, and they get gouged really, really hard. But you know, like the new models, they're gorgeous. Like the paints, I still want some of these stupid paints because YouTube is like put it in my mind that I have to have them. But you know, like I mean, I'm a little cynical, but this is just, I don't know. It's like they've done this to me so many times now. All right, so I've got these guys off the sprues, and so this is how I know that these are CAD, you know, 3D printed. If I had to guess, I'd say this is ZBrush. I mean, I'm not busting on GW. Like this is the way of the future. This is, and I think that they are gonna phase out. Like this is what stuff is gonna look like from now on, and that's part of the reason why they want you to buy a new army. They want you to buy, and that's part of the reason why they're coming out with new paints, is because they want you to buy a new army. They want you to table like all new Primaris Space Marines, and they want you to table like all of their new like 3D printed new models. And I mean, like they key together really, really well. These are some gorgeous sculpts. You know, like you wouldn't be able to sculpt something like that and get it to key together like that on that scale, like with traditional, or at least it would be really, really difficult to design things to key together like that. But yeah, I think that I have a marketing degree, and I think that part of marketing is that you create a need that people didn't know that they had. Like they all of a sudden they have to go out and get all this new stuff, because they have this new need that they never knew they had. Like, that's why you need the new iPhone every year, and you need the new, the new best, like, next best thing. But I mean, I love them. I love the sculpts. The sculpts are absolutely gorgeous. And, I would probably pay a lot for, like, really nice sculpts. But yeah, we're gonna kind of do it their way. We're gonna use, like, a light primer, and then I'm gonna do a little bit of, like, anti-zenithal highlighting. They're gonna be light on top, and then they're gonna be dark on the bottom. But I'm gonna prime them a nice light color, and then airbrush a darker shade for their shadows. So I'll get these guys glued together and primed first. Alright, so went ahead, hit the guys from the top with a, my putty work doesn't look that good. Hit them from the top with a light primer, and then I went ahead and mixed a black primer and then airbrushed it on. I thinned it out a lot. But yeah, talk about speed painting hacks, right? So I can get this guy, if you can sort of see the kind of high contrast. And then, I mean, I like that. I like high contrast. But now, basically, we just do like washes and a little bit of dry brushing, maybe some edge highlighting, stuff like that. And yeah, we've got table ready banshees. So I was trying to play with this a little bit just to get something that's about like the consistency of the contrast paints that I played with. So I have some green ink, and this is just, it's an artist ink, and it has some pretty strong pigments in it. And then I just mix that with a wetting agent, and then the wetting agent, it just kind of like reduces the surface tension so that it helps the pigments sort of flow into the cracks. And you do want an ink to do this, because the ink, the pigments are totally dissolved. They're liquid. You know, it's not like they're like, this is like powdered pigments. This is the kind of stuff that's in, you know, medium, like with acrylic paint. And it's a powdered, you know, pigment that's like mixed together with the acrylic binder, like this, like, you know, medium. And this is just a thin medium. And then I added some of this too. So, but I tried to get it to about the right consistency. And technically, you know, I could airbrush with this too, but I mean, I'm just kind of painting it on. But that's what, it doesn't really show up all of that great on this, because they don't have a bunch of like edges, you know, and things that, but it does flow into the cracks the way the contrast paints would. Plus I have, these guys are air primed, you know, kind of like a darker color, so it's not going to show up quite as well, but it will, this totally will like flow into the cracks, just like how those paints are supposed to. I don't know if you can see that. Like, we could like actually put this guy down and like kind of fast forward, just so you could see how the paint would like flow into those cracks with those details, because the pigments want to settle in the recesses, and then the flow aid sort of helps it move over the top of the model. You can see this guy's sort of starting to dry, but the pigments are running down into the recesses instead of staying on the surface. So I actually wanted these guys kind of more of a turquoise color. I was going to mix that, but I wanted to experiment with this and see. So I think I might kind of lighten them up a little bit. I might go over them with a little bit of a lighter, like kind of like a turquoise, or more of like a whitish lighter color before I try and do this. But you can see, like, I'm pretty sure that that's how they formulated their paints, is they use an ink, and then they use like a wetting agent, you know, a flow aid to help the dissolved pigments flow into the cracks like that. Let's see, is this guy almost dry? Yeah, let's see if I can focus on this guy. You kind of see how it's supposed to do that, and you know, you can control it, like you can physically put it where you want it, and you know, keep it, like brush it down off of the where you want your highlights. Actually, the screen is starting to kind of grow on me, but that's, you can definitely move the pigments around. Or hang on. So I'm just kind of wet blending it, or well, like two brush blending it, and taking water and then wetting it down on the tops of the surfaces where I don't want it, so it'll run down into the recesses more. But these are also not dry yet. because it has the inks and this is, you know, these are inks, not paints. So we push them around a little bit more. Now we'll just go over them with the blue. Oh, she's okay. I did a good job of highlighting her. And so these guys are a little bit more dry now. You can kind of see how the wash, you know, pools in the recesses. And you can pull it away from the top. But yeah, I mean, you could definitely table a bunch of guys super quickly doing this. That's for sure. But yeah, since it's a speed painting video, I thought we would try some of the hype with the makeup brush. So I'm gonna take. And I have some of these Citadel technical paints. These are dry paints, so they're like a gel kind of consistency. They're already like dry, and then you know you just barely put any, you know, on like you with these makeup brushes. They're like so, you know, soft, and they don't pick up that much paint to begin with. It's just kind of like you know, barely dry brushing, like picking up some highlights. I guess I could go a little harder, but I don't know if you can even see that. It's a little too much. Just barely, you know, like the bristles are so soft, and it picks up so little paint that you just need a very light touch, you know. And these brushes are like $2. I think they're like $2 or $3. I think I grabbed a bigger one too. That's like, you know, it's a good size, like for doing like terrain or something. And that one was like $4. So I'm not even really loading up, but I'm kind of just, you know, putting a little tiny bit on, and then like testing it on my hand to see if it picks up the ridges of my you know, on the palm of my hand. And then that's it. Like very, very light touch. Let's see what other I've got. Got a blue. Got this kind of like light, very light turquoise kind of. I thought it was a good like ghostly color. Let's see. And I think it can, you know, it can start to look kind of like powdery. Like it does, like it's very dry. Pigments are very dry, so it does have that kind of like powdery kind of look, but it doesn't look out of place on ghosts. Definitely quick, that's for sure. Alright, so I went around, dry brushed in some different, highlights, kind of did like kind of blue is the darkest, and then worked my way up from the green. I'll kind of mix them together. I like the Statue of Liberty, kind of like patina look though. But very, very light with the bone, white highlights. But I really like the high contrast kind of look, the black in the back and the white kind of like highlights, the bone kind of highlights. This one looks really good. Cape looks really nice, and then you can really see the high contrast here. So they have these kind of bronze chest plates, and I'm not trying to really recreate this box art, but I do like these. I do like this bronze, but I'm not going to paint bronze. I'm just going to kind of glaze on a little bit of a bronze pigment, like a kind of a bronze color. So I want this to kind of, these to be a little more, I mean the green is fine. Like I can glaze on some of this color, and then what I can do is more dry brushing, but I can do it with a like a bronze pigment. Oh, that's a little light. I'll use like a dark bronze. And this is true dry brushing, just dry brushing with pigments. And I can kind of go in there and sort of bronze up the chest plate a little bit. And I kind of like the ethereal kind of green, so I'm not gonna, let's see, what about the dagger? Yeah, dagger a little bit too. Oops, didn't mean to get her fingers. I like that though, that looks good. That's pretty cool, actually. And you can see what like a more of a high key highlight looks like. This again, this practically is like makeup. Just gonna dry brush on a little bit of the bronze pigment on top of the breastplate, the bodice, whatever that is. It still has that kind of ghostly green, like reflected light, but it's more of a bronze. Yeah, definitely working. Alright, that's the finished painting. I took them one step further. I painted like the roses, and I did a little bit more dry, some dry brushing on the bases with some gray to kind of pick up like the skulls and stuff. Did a little bit of green on the vines, and then I ended up doing actually another like really light wash on them with some blue, just to kind of get it to like more of like a turquoise kind of color. and to tie together all of the highlights. They don't look quite so green, or not quite so dark. But anyways, yeah, I mean, I can confirm this definitely, you can table a lot of guys like really quick doing this stuff, get them up to a nice tabletop standard. Anyways, yeah, thanks for watching.